bonus on another piece of content that captures their name and drives them someplace that you can begin to communicate with them. You may have heard the story, and if you haven't, then you haven't listened to or watched all of what's available to you in the new game of IP. The story that I actually sold my very first big deal on a table of contents. Your table of contents is intellectual property. Even if your table of contents is for a program or an IP that you have not yet created, it's still in your head. You can take your table of contents like you would a book table of contents or a video training or an audio program or a workshop or any other table of contents that outlines what you can deliver. And you could literally use that table of contents to sell the entire IP, to sell pieces of the IP. Here we show you the table of contents to the new game of selling. Back in 1993, after I had produced this huge workbook, which was 460 pages and 37 modules, I realized when somebody said to me, Mitch, I'm not buying that whole workbook. Show me the table of contents. When I showed him the table of contents, he said to me, I want these 5 modules. There are 37 modules in the program. And he said, I don't want the rest of them. I just want these 5. And I said, well, you could buy the entire workbook for $295 and you could throw it away and just keep the 5 modules. And he says, no, Mitch, you don't understand. I don't want the workbook. If I buy the workbook for my 50 salespeople, guess what they're going to do? They're going to put it on the shelf, never open it. I might as well throw the money down the drain. He said, but if you give me 1 module a month for 5 months and come in and do a training on each of those, which he then just gave me a training gig, and he said, if at the 6th month you tie it all together, I got 6 shots to get my investment back. How much? And I said, okay, $100 a module. Thinking, being a smart Jersey guy, right, I'm thinking he's going to say, well, I might as well buy the whole workbook for $295. Why would I want to pay you $500 for 5 modules? And he said, done deal, where do we sign and when do we start? And I said, I don't get it. He says, you're right, you don't get it. You want to give it to me your way. I want it my way. That was a defining moment of my life and my business. It was in that moment that I realized that, like everyone else, I was McDonald's. I was trying to give it to him my way. 450-page workbook, 37 modules, cassettes on the inside, and he said, no, I want it my way. And it was in that moment that I stopped being McDonald's and I started to be Burger King. And I started to give it to people their way. He was willing to pay me $500, $100 per module for 5 modules, $200 more than the whole workbook, and hire me to come in and do training each month, which was not cheap, all right? And he put more money in my pocket by buying the pieces rather than the whole. What's the lesson? Well, first of all, if you don't have any product and all you have is a concept or an idea, create a table of contents, find somebody who might want to buy what you have on the table of contents or pick and choose from the table of contents. And you, without any IP, without any products, or without anything to show, could do what I did, which is sell a $250,000 deal off a table of contents. And then in this case, sell another, $50,000. It was $500 a person times 50 people. That was $25,000, right? And then he paid me to come in and train every month for 6 months. Whereas if I tried to sell him the whole workbook at $295, he wouldn't have bought anything. Very powerful, powerful lesson. So question for you. If you have no IP, can you create a table of contents and work off of that? If you already have product and IP, can you disassemble it and start selling pieces of it, modules of it, chapters of it, instead of the whole? And in this particular case, the whole is actually less than the sum of the parts. Like one part could be worth more than the whole. So that's the beautiful part about the IP game, whereas if I sold him this product with this table of contents, guess what? He would have never bought it, and I would have never had a chance to make that $50,000 because I would have been stuck in selling my product in the form in which I wanted to deliver it, as opposed to giving him what he wanted the way he wanted it. From that moment on, I became